Yes.
Everyone ready? Okay, so I'll start.
So, yes, sir, yes. So, very good evening. Sri Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Upsa, District Latur in Maharashtra State is organized an international e-conference. For today's session on the dais is Honorable Jordan Athena ma'am. So first of all, I welcome to you, madam, for the dais. I welcome the chief organizer of the series, the ideal principal of Sri Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Avsa, Honorable Dr. M. Ambedkar sir, and also I welcome all those dear attendees. The topic for today's presentation is the pleasure principle. Now the topic is going to present. Just now I have introduced the keynote speaker Jordan ma'am.
Hello.
She is from North Carolina, United States. So with this brief introduction, now I request to you, madam, please start your presentation on the topic, the pleasure principle. You are most welcome. Please, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Please ignore my child in the background. If you hear her, they're about to go to the park and you won't hear it for too long. So I am Jordan Athena. That's the name I practice under. I am a certified holistic healer in herbalism, breathwork, Kundalini yoga specifically, basically anything pleasure focused. I have spent the last 2 years diving into and seeing how it can enhance my quality of life. And the reason that I started doing that was I'm also a veteran and I have CPTSD from my 6 years in the Air Force. And during my research, I found that it was the vagus nerve that actually affects a lot of internal conditions, I would say, like PTSD. It can be narrowed down to nerve damage in your polyvagal system, specifically your vagus nerve. What was interesting is when I learned that you can repair it, and the opposite of the damage is to play. It's like through my research, and I started going to grief retreats and just trying to exercise and increase my emotional bandwidth, because I felt very bogged down by the amount of negative feelings that I had. And it started impacting my joy. And one of the first things I learned was play. They always say to play if you were sad. If you're feeling just bad, you don't have to be happy to play, but your body can still feel good. So that kickstarted my research. Because what does that mean for adults, right? I have children and they play Barbie dolls, they run around, all of this, but it looks a little bit different for adults, I found. And so I will get more into that in a few minutes. But I do have a few key points I want to hit just to go over the theories before. So the polyvagal theory was developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. If I mispronounce, please don't hold that against me. And it explains how the vagus nerve influences our emotional regulation, social connection, and responses to stress. It highlights the importance of the vagus nerve in maintaining homeostasis and supporting our ability to engage with others. So for me, that presented as when I was in polyvagal shutdown, I would be stuck at home. And for the first, quarantine happened with COVID and that was okay. And I just found I could not get myself back out there. And my kids they're 3 and 4, but for the first couple of years, I was okay with that. And then I started feeling that weight and the lack of self-expression and the effect it had on my own mental health because I got lost in all my different roles. So polyvagal shutdown can put you in freeze, flight, fawn, all the responses, and you don't always know that you are in there. So you can actually lose sensation in your whole body to a certain degree, and it happens so gradually that you don't really know what to compare it to until starting embodiment work. And I've noticed that I have way more sensation throughout my whole body, to emotions as well, but even like temperature outside, right? And just like different things. I never realized how numb I was until I started this work. And let me see. So what happens in polyvagal shutdown is you can stay there. You can stay there for years and not know it. And it can lead to a disconnect from your partner, a disconnect from your family, a disconnect from anything outside of your own mental. And that's what was happening with me. And through my research, I found that in my theory, and this is what I'm doing a self-published study about this, pleasure principle is the vagus nerve is the tuning fork between your physical body and your mental. And it helps the two communicate. So say, for example, you're feeling sad and you notice that you don't want to do anything, like you are noticing that you're feeling lethargic. That can actually be your body saying, hey, I need to move, if we learn how to interpret it correctly. And to do that, we have to be embodied to know, like, well, I slept good. I shouldn't be that tired. I probably need to go run. And they help sync. And I think that it is a great opportunity to learn how to explore what it means to own our bodies, like to be in them and to enjoy our lives and to be kind to our bodies. Because for so long, we've been focused on work and productivity, at least in America. It's always productivity driven. That is the number one, like, how much did you do today? And I found I'm more productive when I plan for fun in my day as well. It kind of has a cascading effect across your whole life. And so the way, let me see, double check. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. It'll go away in a minute. So how I started studying this principle was I decided to face my worst fear. When I was having a hard time leaving my house, and I'm sure people thought I was crazy, I signed up for vocal lessons. I signed up for vocal lessons to help find my voice again and to face being vulnerable and being embarrassed, right? Because I'm 30 and I've never sang, and this woman has sang for 25 years. And after the first lesson, I noticed such an improved mental state. And it was 30 minutes, and we just went over a few warm-ups. And upon further research, it vibrates your whole vagus nerve. And it is a huge factor. It is one of the most under-accessed somatic practices to help repair your vagus nerve. So I started with vocal lessons, and it was just humming, deep breath. And so many of the same practices tie into meditation. And it's all about getting into a flow state, which I have found that's what play looks like for adults, is to just get out of the future or the past and be in the now and enjoy your moment. But for a lot of us who've been told productivity is the most important, you have to be working with something. And the trick is to make it something that you love. It's just for you. It's for no one else. It doesn't matter if you're good, bad. It is just to help you own your body and to know, like, this is who I am. This is what I'm working with. And let's love that. And let's see. So that was a year ago. I am now in piano lessons, harp lessons, vocal lessons, composing music, and it is all still tied to the pleasure, because I want what sounds like the most fun to me. It sounds like flying, is writing my own song and singing it, even if no one hears it, because I know years went into that, and I'm learning how to have healthy fun that is good for my nervous system. And so it takes a lot of work, and I think that that's one of the biggest hangups that I have found. And I interviewed my actual instructor for this, and she said that there are markers in all adults for play. So the first lesson, you are in anything, right? Any sport, any hobby, any hand-driven, physical-driven activity. The first lesson or first anything, you are going to be nervous, and you may not be able to like absorb it all. You get more comfortable. Around 3 months, your own internal blocks start to show up. And that is where the damage is revealing itself. And so this taps into the neuroplasticity of helping rewire your brain, but in a pleasant way, because sometimes talk therapy can be really heavy. And I'm a huge proponent. I have talk therapy, but sometimes you just need to be able to not think about things for a little bit and focus on the good and focus on why you're working to heal your nervous system and why you are important. And for me, that's joy. For me, that is 100%. I'm here and I want to enjoy my life. And that has just built over the past 2 years throughout my study of, I now think that like going to an amusement park with my kids is fun. And I have CPTSD and I used to have earplugs and do all kinds of things. And I would feel paralyzed at these. But now I know that I go and I sing in front of this teacher and I sound like a toddler compared to her, and I get full support. And it helped change the way that I view how people perceive anxiety, which is a problem within anxiety of itself, right? It's the self-spiraling, people are going to judge, I shouldn't be anxious, no one else is. Most people are. And so it's the vulnerability that comes from being able to say, this is how I feel, and this is how I have to work with my body because it is communicating with me, that you find this balance and you start to notice other people are just as anxious as you are, and it becomes a safe space. There are more safe spaces, the more safe you feel with your own self. That has been the biggest impact I found. Let's see. So just to clarify, the vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body, extending from the brainstem through the neck down into the abdomen. So it connects my holistic practices. I believe that we have 3 hearts. So it will be your brain, your stomach, your heart. Your vagus nerve touches all 3 of these. And so tapping into that and just giving love to the vagus nerve, it benefits your whole body. It benefits your digestion, your emotional state and bandwidth, I would say, as far as being able to sit with your negative emotions, and they become less scary at that point because you know that you are safe and that you can hum, or you can go, if you learn EFT, you can tap. As long as you have a safe activity that your body knows, you can generally stop an anxiety attack, I have found, which is fantastic for CPTSD because flashbacks happen and you can kind of get pulled into it and you don't necessarily know when that's happening until you're there, and it can feel too hard to climb out of. So it also helps with awareness, I should say. So now I can tell, now I can understand my heart rate's going up a little bit. Is it excitement? Or is it anxiety? Because before it was just anxiety in my brain. My body would feel that it was under attack because of the levels of stress and cortisol. And working with your vagus nerve has proven to drastically reduce cortisol levels within 6 months. It's crazy the amount of benefits that come from listening to your body. And that's what this boils down to. But listening in a kind way, listening in a soft manner of, what do you need? How can I give you what you need so that we can perform best in this life together? And it's learning to think of your body and your mental health as 2 separate things, but they are connected by this nerve. And I think that is a huge, just evolutionary gift, right? Like, what are the odds that all of these systems have this perfect connecting point? And you just have to hum. You take a deep breath and you can regulate. I learned through singing that if you breathe out longer than you breathe in, your body registers a threat as being gone. Even if there was no threat, if it's anxiety, but as long as you breathe out longer, you can literally sigh in relief and your body will be like, oh, we're safe. Good. Like, it's very simple. And I feel like a lot of people don't have access to this information or nowhere to look, because when I first started, I felt so lost and I felt so damaged and I didn't know how to move on because I had served my country and I should be very thankful for that. But I also couldn't leave my house and I'm only 30. And it was just this weight of shame and guilt of being anxious. And we live in unprecedented times. I think everyone has a certain level of anxiety, and anyone can benefit from this. Just rushing around from your day-to-day job, that causes a rise in cortisol. So if we can breathe while we're walking around, just take a moment and see like what feels good in my body. I've started doing a body scan for positive. I've always assumed body scans were for what hurts, where am I tense, what needs improvement. And instead it's, now I'll say like my shoulders feel much better. Okay, let's focus on that. And it expands. And it goes throughout your whole body because your body knows what to do and it's learning to trust your body again, which is very hard. That's a full-time job, I feel like. And it's been 2 years of full-time research and I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of the potential in this. And I think everyone could benefit from any creative outlet. There's a quote, and I will look it up and post it in here after, if that's allowed. But it says, life imitates art. And I think, I always think of that. And I always think, would art imitate my life right now? How would it look if I saw this piece of art? Because it is my ongoing living piece of art. And that helps put it into perspective. Being creative is good. Being free, being able to move and just being able to enjoy food to start, like to calm your IBS because your anxiety's gone, just to know that you were safe and that you were here for a reason and you were able to tap into that whenever you want. You can recenter and pull yourself in. And I think it really comes from the vagus nerve. There's multiple ways to do it. I have had the best results with focusing on the vagus nerve because it is the connecting point between my brain and my body. And it helps me, I would say it helps me remain myself in the presence of others and not let the emotions take over. It helps you be able to say, I'm anxious. Okay. Let me account for that. Like this morning before this, I had to go on a run because I was too nervous. And I was like, but I know what to do to help my body. It doesn't mean to shut down and to fight it. It teaches you how to breathe through it and look through it and see what your body is asking for. It's not necessarily a negative, but if you are not comfortable in discomfort, it can be perceived as negative. And getting comfortable in discomfort and knowing it's temporary is a huge part of the pleasure principle, which sounds ironic because it's pleasure, but it is because without grief, you can't have gratitude. They balance each other out. Like if you are at a concert and you're having the best time, but you notice your feet hurt, you are going to be able to tap into that memory just like you were there again because you have a physical memory. Obviously, if they hurt too much, go change your shoes, right? Do what you need to do. But a certain level of discomfort, I feel, is necessary to have true pleasure in life because if all you feel is good, you don't know what to compare it to. And no one feels good all the time. But if we try to neutralize our feelings, it can translate that way. And that's not necessarily the case. Like, I'm trying to think of the best example that I have of this. Well, the vocal lessons, obviously, because now that's the highlight of my week. Every single week, I'm like, no, I have to go. And it has become the joy in my life. I have fallen in love with doing this, and it is outside of my marriage, outside of my kids, outside of my work. It is something just for me. And I can go home and I can meditate while I play the piano. So also for neurodivergence, if you have ADHD, anything like that, something to do with your hands is a key principle in learning how to recenter and ground. And it's healthy ways. So grief work also ties into this. Another practice I have is I make beads. But because I'm learning piano, I'm trying to be left-handed. Not naturally. And I make clay beads with my left hand. So it is a very stressful at first because your coordination's off, right? And it's learning to sit and teach yourself that and learning that you can change. Even if it's something as little as making a ball but then I make them into bookmarks and I give them to people that I love. And it's when I'm feeling bad, I make something beautiful out of it. And that's what music can be. That's what movement. Yoga is a great tool for this. Any running can be a little bit intense, but if you can get in the flow, I have a hard time. I have to have music, but running is a great one. Walking on the beach is also, every time I go to the beach, I make sure I walk on the beach for 2 hours, like throughout the weekend, just no phone, just existing and looking at the water and walking and moving my body. And I find that the first 5 minutes I'm freaking out because I am not working towards something. I am not, like, I will look at the timer and I'll be like, oh, it's only been 5 minutes. How am I going to do this for another hour and 55 minutes? And that's when I start focusing on the breath and breathing out longer and doing the exercises that no one can see. You can do them while you're just sitting around people and you can't really tell. I mean, a deep breath just looks like someone's relaxing, but you can access your whole nervous system that way. And I think that that's beautiful. You can still have grace while dealing with anxiety and things like this, or depression. I mean, anything really, but it's a way to give people grace and true comfort from themselves, like from their brains, right? From the mean voices. That's not necessarily them, but it's how to balance your hormones. And you can do it without saying like, oh, I shouldn't have to do this. You can just be kind to your body and be like, I understand. It's been stressful. I'll go for a nice long walk and you will feel better. That resistance that you feel is usually tension. It's not you. And it's identifying what is you and what is a symptom of what your body is going through at that moment. And I had no idea what that was until I had to sit with myself and I had to push my body to those limits, because singing is honestly very difficult. I had no idea. I thought I was going to go in and learn a song and I'd be like, oh, cool. I can sing now. And yesterday I had to learn how to relax my larynx for 10 minute stretches, just stretching your neck. And I was thinking that would be great I've had neck pain for years. And I think we learn from creative outlets, and it gives us the confidence to try different things and different approaches and to see what we are capable of instead of what we are not capable of. Because we can very much I get stuck in that for sure, where I'm like, well, I struggle with going out. Maybe I don't want to go out today if my husband's not going to be there. Like, what if I have an anxiety attack, which is my anxiety speaking? And that's the cycle of, so it's just taking a break and seeing what you need and how to love yourself. There's another. Yes. No, I'm continuing. I'm just looking at my notes really quick. I'll be right back. Okay. So, pleasure-based techniques. I have a list. My top 5. Anything creative. Meditation, 5 minutes a day. Just if you can sit and breathe for 5 minutes a day, as soon as you wake up, I do it in bed. I will just lay in bed before I get up and I will just take a deep breath and do a body scan. And I did not know how important body scans were before this, because I thought you just push through. You push through and you do what you can do. So anything creative, meditation, water. I am a big proponent of water. If you would live near water, if you live near a pool, a hot tub, even your shower, like cold water, hot water. Water has a very calming effect on the body. And I'm still doing more research into that, but I find I get like the quickest results because it helps with temperature regulation, which our vagus nerve also can impact. It can tell you that you're in danger, so your heart rate speeds up, you get hot flashes. It all stems from internal. So water, texture. That is as simple as eating a crunchy snack when you feel sad. Something to break up the monotony of a day. If it's a day where you're just feeling heavy and numb, a strong cup of coffee could help. Not too much, but something sour candy. anything that can awaken your senses in a way that you haven't been using them. Let's see. Okay. Food. And then I would say social time. Like if you have kids, go play with your kids. I love to just sit and watch what they play. And I'm learning to use my imagination again. And it feels so silly. But then in my day-to-day life, I feel like I am so much more resourceful because I am not stuck on a single path of this is what is supposed to happen. You learn how to look at all the other options. Is there a better way to do this? Change becomes less scary the more secure we are in ourselves. And that, for me, has stemmed from my vagus nerve. It was in severe shutdown. And I had no idea. And I was never educated on it. I was never taught. I found it through my own experiences. And I'm my own guinea pig through this study. But it is something that I'm really passionate with sharing because we all have the ability to improve our quality of life. And I think that that is amazing and free, which is great. Like if you can learn how to, like, one of the tips is you squeeze your finger and you just breathe. And once it starts to like pulse, it resets your whole nervous system. And each finger means a different one. So like this is immediate sense of self. And the other three escape me, but these are my two that I use most of the time. And it is just being able to sit with your hand in your lap. No one knows what you're doing, but you are recentering without having to stop. And I think that that is a gift. I'm going to see if there's any more topics I had outlined that I would like to cover, and then we'll move on to questions. Oh, okay. I had a 2-hour lesson. Can I do exercises for you? Is that okay? Okay, so I've learned how to relax my soft palate, which I didn't know that was a thing. So when I get anxious, I will go, hoo, hoo, and you can throw it, but it clears out anything. Same thing with sirens. You can go, ooh, and you see how it moves the whole, ooh, and it just vibrates all of that. I'm still working on chest voice. I still have a lot of anxiety there, but I don't know. Like I still have stage fright and I can't sing in front of people, but I can sing in front of my kids and my husband, and I can do these vocal warm-ups, and my kids do them, and they are helping their own vagus nerve and they don't know. You might hear my child now go like, oh, oh, she'll just walk around the house doing that. What's another one? So for chest voice, that was head voice. Chest voice, which is where a lot of anxiety is, one of the exercises is to go, yeah, yeah. And you have to learn how to like actually throw your voice, but it forces all of that to let go because you can't do it if you don't have full diaphragm control. And then the last one I'll do is a breath work. That was the hardest one I've had to learn. So you take a deep breath in and you blow out for as long as possible, making the S noise. And you can do that. You're supposed to be able to do it for up to a minute and a half, but that releases every single tension point in your body. It touches every nervous point in your body. And you can do that and people just look at you like, oh, you have good breath control. Like everyone just gets curious. There's not a lot of judgment like people think, which is very interesting to me. And I will sing for my next presentation. I'm working on a song now, but right now I am not even at a point where I can sing a song without having to stop because the breath control and the full diaphragm and the complete muscular retraining your body has to do. It's fix my posture, everything. It's crazy. Everyone just needs to do something creative and your life gets better. I think that would be like my highlighting point is let's get creative. It's good for you. I will. I'll practice the song.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful explanation on the topic. Actually, it is a term used by Sigmund Freud, only for to characterize the tendency and seek pleasure and to avoid the pain. Now, it is a term used by Sigmund Freud, and ma'am have explained it very clearly by giving some examples, also some practical things before us. So thank you so much. Now I request all the participants for your queries. If you have, please come ahead, dear participants. Shukla sir, please. Swanand Shukla sir.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Bedkar sir, Prashant sir, and I think good morning for you, ma'am, over there. A wonderful presentation you have made. Many of the time it happens that we live the life for others and not for ourselves, and we forget to live our own life. So that is a wonderful explain. We should take out the time for ourselves and our pleasure, and I think happiness. I think when we are discussing about this emotions of ourselves and relate towards disturbance is there.
Vidyanath Jha sir, please mute yourself. Dr. Vidyanath Jha. Yes, please continue, sir.
So wonderful what you have mentioned about, and we should take out time. We yes, definitely in India also we meditate a lot, and techniques are there, and we are having a very special technique yoga. On 21st of this month we are having International Yoga Day, and I think international means everywhere it will be celebrated. And in yoga also the pranayama is there, and that pranayama is a breathing exercises. And when we breathe in and out and we are doing our rhythmic that breathing exercises, it gives a kind of sense of pleasure throughout the body. So that is a wonderful thing what I feel. And you were making some noises or the siren sound and other sounds. Yeah, definitely we are having Omkara. We are having such a wonderful technique of Omkara. We take a deep breath in, and while leaving the breath, slowly we call it as Omkara. Om. And it is related with the spiritualism also. And it is, of course, it is related with our human body also. So I think every cell of the human body, it gets sensitized. I think the intelligence is there with every single body of the human, right? So what I feel, so wonderfully explained topic. My question, a very important question is, yes, we live for ourselves. But first, the life starts with me, and then my family members, and then my surrounding, and then others. So no doubt, myself is one of the very important thing, and my mental health and my emotional balance is very important. But what about, when I'm helping others, and especially unknown? So it gives me a different kind of pleasure, that I could help that person. And that feelings, that stays longer rather than, the feeling which is, which I'm using it for myself. So what do you think, which kind of pleasure is, great? So that is my question. Please comment on this. Otherwise, your presentation was wonderful. You had shown a demonstration and very lively presentation you have made. Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. So you want to know which one I think is the most beneficial?
Yeah, which one will, the pleasure also decays, it also gets destroyed. And you'll find when we are helping others, that stays longer than, what I'm doing for myself. So which kind of pleasure you'll find, is an important one. And which one should we follow?
I think both. I always try to pass it forward as much as I can. So I kind of operate under my, I like to say that me and the universe are friends. And if your main goal is to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't help others. Granted, once you can take care of yourself, if you have the means or the ability to help other people, that is when that comes in. So it's a building block. So taking care of yourself first, and then you are at 100% capacity. And I think then you are able to appreciate helping others to a fuller extent, because if you're sad, you're not going to want to help people. I mean, not as likely in my case, right? I just kind of want to lay in bed if I'm sad. So it's starting that. So when I had children, that was a big motivator, because I was like, I need to be the best example I can for them, which is also the best version of myself, turns out. And I just didn't know what that was. And it naturally gravitates towards helping people. Just by being you and by setting a good example, you'll find people will come and ask you for advice, and you can help in ways with like, oh, this is what I'm doing. So people witnessing you regulating your nervous system, that realistically, they will ask you about it then or later. And it's always been with 100% interest, because they struggle with something that they can relate to why I'm doing that. And so I think it's a delicate balance, but it's taking care of yourself and also remaining humble. And if you have the opportunity to help people, I think that's the universe's way of saying to help people. And it does feel good, but I think they go together for me. Does that answer? Like from my own experience, I feel like I can only answer that from my own experience. But I do feel called to serve people. I mean, I served in the military, and I'm actually going to Ecuador to like learn herbalism next year, and I'm going to be in an immersive culture. And so I am learning through servitude how to reconnect with myself. So but I can't burn out or exhaust myself, because then there's really not the full effect.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. I think one should realize for oneself and my desires, my goals, my pleasure first, and I think then we can go for others. That is a wonderful explanation. And yeah, I think the spirituality plays a wonderful role in this, to make me understand and to bring myself, my what are my eternal goals, that is what exactly we have to find it out. Not the small goals, small targets, some objects or something like that. But I think it is a bigger goal what we should think of. And that really comes with the spiritual science. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Suresh Agrawal sir would like to ask. Please, sir. I think by mistake he has raised his hand. So thank you, Dr. Swanand Shukla sir, for nicely discussion. Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, madam. Good afternoon. If it is there is a good afternoon is there. Thank you very much. Athena, madam, thank you very much for making us inside out. Your body language experience that we have got self-experience, lot of self-experience for deriving the pleasures from the experiences which you had. Really, it's whatever the practice you have developed yourself, that is very useful. We were enjoying the presentation here, and madam, one thing is that we are very happy when we are in childhood. We are generally naughty and then humorous in childhood when school going ages.
Yes.
And if that naughtiness and humorous, if it is continued, even we grown up, definitely it will derive more pleasure. Have you kept any naughtiness or humorous from childhood? Still you are keeping that humorous or naughtiness from childhood? Have you kept any naughtiness from your childhood?
Yes, absolutely.
It is because your various sounds had asked me.
No,
Uh,
absolutely. That's part of the fun, right? Is like knowing it's okay to make a mess and knowing that you're the one to clean it up. Like being naughty is fun. And that's important. I think that it's being able to step outside of the rules for a little bit is very important just for a sense of self, to feel like you are an individual and not a part of a system, right? But it's finding a healthy balance. As an adult, you have more consequences. And so it's finding ways to do that in a healthy way. For example, tonight I'm going to a concert to see my favorite artist.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ma'am, please unmute and then talk. Yes.
How did I get muted? I'm so sorry. No, I 100% yes. I think that it's good to break the mold, get out of the box. That's kind of what this started with. I don't like rules if I don't know the why. And so learning the why and learning why it's important via natural consequences when you're a child and adult, if you're not careful, right? It's all about balance. But yeah, rules are meant to be questioned, I think, as long as you have the best intentions. Intentions are what matter. So if pleasure and joy and good and love are your motivators, go for it. Be naughty in a fun way. That's my advice.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravindra Ramatkar sir, and also Swanand Shukla sir. Ramatkar sir, I would like to suggest that if you have seen the movie Umar Pachpan Ki Dil Bachpan Ka, the whole movie is so comedy. We are getting there. Really, from when the movie starts onwards, we just enjoy that movie. If you've not seen, again you see, it's a kind
Kindly
of
pass
fun.
on this message to the Athena madam too.
Yes, yes,
Athena
yes.
madam, he's telling some movie.
Will you send me the name of that movie so I can look it up after this? I don't believe I've seen it.
That's good. That's
Maybe
good.
I'll like it. I don't know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ramatkar, sir. Now I request the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Dr. M. Bedkar, sir, to conclude the session. Please welcome, sir.
I will. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so honored.
Thank you, sir. Just wait, madam. Just wait for formal vote of thanks. Sri Kumar Swami Mahavidyalaya Avsa, District Latur in Maharashtra State, as we know, organized an international e-conference. It's a daily webinar series. For today's session on the dais was Honorable Jordan Athena ma'am, who have talked about the topic pleasure principle, and ma'am have cleared the concept of pleasures by giving different examples and brought some details from her that how to be happy life, how to live the happy life. So all the details you have given, madam, really it was very wonderful session and you have explained it very well. So we are very happy, and as our principal sir have said that everyone follow the tools and some ideas which the techniques in your life and enjoy your life. So we will of course follow all these details, all the things, techniques from your side. So thank you so much for giving your valuable time to the series. And also thanks the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Dr. M. Ambedkar sir. Especially thanks Dr. Swani Shukla sir, Ravindra Ramatkar sir for the nice discussion with the keynote speaker. And at last, I thanks all those dear attendees who join the series regularly. Now, kindly, I request to you all, please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. And now I declare, with the kind permission of chief organizer, the session is over. Thank you again, Honorable Jordan ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm honored and I'm so grateful to be here today. Thank you. Now I just hang up?
Thank you.
I don't know, just tell me what to do. Thank you. Bye.